An Evening at the Movies is a proud member of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. Other shows in the network include Mass Debaters, The Sip List, Crushgasm, Love is Black, Men Are the Prize, Crime Rewind, and Literature Reapers. You can find out all about our shows and more at idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com. Happy listening. You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to your favorite movie-based podcast. This is An Evening at the Movies. I am your awesome, incredible, amazing host. I am all the adjectives all rolled into one. I am Kasey, and I am very happy to be here for what is going to amount to episode 2 of our tribute to the amazingness that is Black cinema. As we all know, Harvey and I and Amanda discussed Bamboozled last week, and this week we're going to be revisiting a movie that myself and the guest talked about a couple months ago. But before I reveal the movie we're going to be discussing, I have to reveal the fact that we are joined on this episode by CJ. CJ, welcome back to the show.
Right. Oh, thank you for having me back. It's going to be great.
It is going to be great because at the end of the day, the first time you were on the show, we did great numbers for listens, and I think we're going to do great numbers again. So I'm excited to have you back. You want to let the listeners know where everything about where you come into the equation and everything you do in the podcast world?
Okay. You can find me on Mass Bears Presents Bracket Reviews. Those drop every Wednesday. I'm not even gonna say that. Yeah, those drop every week. All right. I'm also on Season to Season, which we do like around once a month. That's a great show. And you also check out my new show that starts on every Tuesday. Is Toontastic Journeys, where we go through where we pick different cartoons, and we review the nostalgia of it, and we'll let you know some of the great old school Saturday morning cartoons. That you can bring, that you can let your kids watch, or you can go back and revisit.
I'm not gonna lie, I love the idea of Toontastic Journeys, and I'm actually grateful that you and Josh came up with that idea, because I know of there's not a whole lot of podcasts out there that do, like, as far as movies and music and books and stuff go, like, everybody does that shit, but nobody fucking does like classic TV cartoons. So
all right, hey, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, this is all Josh's idea. I'm along for the ride. He came.
Either way,
I shoot new ideas at him here and there, to see how it goes further. But this is his baby.
Amanda and I go back and forth over this with the same thing, because at times she'll throw out the comment that this is my show, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, I accept the fact that An Evening at the Movies is my show. But at the same time, Amanda has been here almost every episode since episode 2. So at the same time, she is my co-host. She is, my absolute best fucking friend. So I'm not, if I ever don't give her credit for something on the show, it's not because I'm intentionally doing it. It's because it literally slipped my mind. So Amanda is as much responsible for this show as everything, whether it's just giving an idea here or there, or giving a piece of constructive criticism or whatever. It is what it is. So technically, in my vision, anybody a part of the show has a right to claim ownership on it. So at the same time, Toontastic Journeys is both of your guys' shows. So we'll just go with that.
All right, I'll feel you on that.
So,
yeah. Yeah, and so far it's been a great journey.
I listened to the first episode. It's good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm anxious to see where you guys continue to keep going down the road. And I know coming up here in a few episodes, I will be making my debut on Toontastic Journeys.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for that as well.
Yes, me too. That's gonna be great because that's gonna be a great cartoon we'll be talking about.
Yeah, I mean, when Josh proposed the idea to me, he was throwing out all kinds of different ideas for like different episodes and stuff that he wanted to do, and it's like, God, this is so much of a nostalgia trip for me because it's like I love that cartoon growing up, I love that cartoon growing up. I love all these freaking cartoons, and it's like I want to volunteer to be on every damn one of those episodes. But I'm like, I've got way too much on my fucking plate. I'll pick one and we'll leave it at that, and then a little ways down the road, then I'll come back and do another one. No offense to you guys, but I'm trying to
Yeah,
not put too much on my fucking plate.
yeah, but no, I think that's the idea. That's what we wanted. Yeah, we want everyone to be excited about this.
I think there's enough of us in our little podcastual inner circle that love cartoons that I think you'll have a wealth of people that are going to be willing to come on the show and talk about various cartoon series with you guys. So you guys are set up nicely to have a nice run into the world. So
Yeah,
definitely welcome to both of you into this amazing, exciting world that we call the podcast world.
oh Lord, here we go again.
So yeah. So if you guys didn't listen to the last episode, and I finger quote it because technically we're recording this episode before Harvey and I record the Bamboozled episode, but Bamboozled is our first episode of this month. This will be the second episode of the month. But if you guys didn't listen to the Bamboozled episode, um, just so you know, we're going to be spending the month of February talking about great black cinema. And when I say great black cinema, I'm not trying to just throw out the fact that there's amazing, amazing black movies from, all the way from, dramedies all the way down through stupid comedies. What the idea with this theme that we're looking at, though, is we're not necessarily trying to go down the stereotypical black rabbit hole. We want to try and look at some movies that bring a positive light and a positive spin onto black culture, which was part of the reason why Harvey picked Bamboozled for the debut episode. And then I feel like this movie that we're going to be doing, and when I get into my explanation as to why I like the idea of CJ suggesting this movie, it fits into that mold really well because it's not something where, all the characters are like street thugs on drugs, smoking weed, don't have a job, all of that stereotypical things that a lot of people classify as, black comedies per se. And I'm trying to explain it as well as I can without necessarily being as negative as I can. But
we're not trying to do the same
can
movies
be a,
that pop up every year during Black History Month.
well, yeah, it's like there's great movies out there, but if we're going to celebrate black cinema, why would you want to pick Friday? Not that Friday's a bad movie. I love Friday. I laugh my ass off at Friday. But if you're going to honor the culture, is that necessarily a movie that you want to pick to do it and showcase the beauty of the culture? So, with all that said, and like I said in the opening intro as well, obviously, if you listen to the last episode, because this is CJ's second episode, that CJ was here for Harlem Nights back in November on the anniversary of when it was released. But we're going to be diving a little bit deeper into everything that is the amazingness that is Harlem Nights. So, with all of that said, just in case you didn't listen to the last episode, and I'm not saying everybody has, but if you haven't, I highly recommend you go back and listen to it. But really quickly, though, before we go down that road, just in case you didn't, and all of that, you don't necessarily have to listen to the first episode to be able to get enjoyment out of this, with where I think we're going to go with this discussion. But I will cover some stuff that we did cover in the last episode as well. But to Harlem Nights released on November 17th, 1989. It was directed by the star of the greatest Beverly Hills Cop movie of all time, Beverly Hills Cop 1, Eddie Murphy.
You did enough for Dre, didn't you?
That would definitely, cheap shot at Dre. But like Dre said on the earlier episode of Bracket Reviews that we did earlier before this, as long as we're not saying Beverly Hills Cop 2 is the best movie, then he's okay with it. So it was released by Paramount Pictures, had a budget of $30 million, had a box office of $98 million. And something we haven't done in a while on the show, but I actually did a inflation calculator to translate what that $95 million would look like in today's standards. So $95 million in 1989 would be the equivalent of $233.4 million. So for quote unquote, as critically hated as this movie was, $233 million is a huge box office.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I wanted to add
necessarily.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's not necessarily Star Wars or Harry Potter numbers, but today, not a damn studio in Hollywood would turn down a $233 million box office.
Well,
I don't care who you are.
that's great. Yeah, no, because it actually hit really big with the audiences. And I wanted to bring something back. Well, like we always say, we hate Rotten Tomatoes, but the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie is a abysmal 26. Yet the audience score is 80.
Yeah, exactly. That I love looking at both of those scores when it comes to especially movies that take a hit like this movie did with the critics, because it's like, okay, I can maybe see if you're analyzing it, script wise, all of this, why some of these critics take their jobs a little bit too fucking seriously. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie is incredibly. There's so much about this damn movie, and we're going to get into that here in just a minute. So, but also if you haven't seen the movie, it is available on Paramount Plus to stream. So, one of the amazing factors of this movie, and I'm not going to go down the whole list, but I really want to touch on, and we did touch on it a bit in the first episode as well. But this movie has an amazingly iconic fucking cast. I don't care who you are, as far as like, dude, Della Reese, Jasmine Guy, Arsenio Hall, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, and on top of it, Eddie Murphy directed the movie and wrote the movie as well. It's like, wow. And on top of it, it was technically nominated for an Academy Award too.
Yeah, and you also have the heavy hitters like Richard Pryor, Robin Harris, Red Fox, all the old school legends like helping lead the cast.
Well, I mean, again, another point that we brought up a couple months ago too. But if you look at it from this perspective, you have 3 solid generations of stand-up comedians in one cast.
Yeah,
you have literally the grandfather of stand-up comedy, one of the greatest grandfathers of comedy, stand-up comedy in Red Fox. You have, okay, the father of comedy being, Richard Pryor, and then at the time you have the young gun Eddie Murphy coming in, and I appreciate the fact that um, Eddie Murphy has probably two of the biggest stand-up comedy specials of all time. And not saying that Richard Pryor or Red Fox couldn't have done numbers like that in the time frame that Eddie did too, but I mean, Delirious and Raw are iconic. Richard
Oh yeah.
Pryor's stand-up comedy is fucking iconic. Red Fox, the little bit of his stand-up that I've seen is great. I mean, at the same time, he has also created one of the most memorable television characters of all time in Fred G. Stanford. And what does the G stand for? Going places. I don't do it as well as Dre does, but that was part of the reason why I was hoping Dre would come on so I could do that and have Dre
Yeah.
fill in the going places. But but no, even to the same extent though, when both Red Fox and Richard Pryor were asked after the movie came out about their experience on the movie, they both, I'm trying to pull up the exact quote because compared to what Eddie had to say about his experience, it's like totally different. But it turned out to be more pleasant than I expected. Pryor told Rolling Stone magazine. Um, Eddie is wise enough to listen to people. I've seen him be very patient with his actors. It's not a lark to him. He's really serious. He's on top of the world. He's doing a hell of a job. Agreed, Red Fox. He sure knows how to handle people with sensitivity. He'll come over to your side and give private direction. He never embarrasses anyone. And then Richard Pryor finished it up with, you walk around here and look at the people. Have you ever in your life seen this many black people on a movie set ever?
Yeah.
So,
but dude, the cast. We're talking about the cast. The cast
right there,
itself was phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. And I get the fact that it may not have been the most pleasant experience of Eddie's career, and it's a lot of the reason why he has never directed another movie since. But it's not, the movie is fucking funny. I think the dialogue is really well written, and that is a testament to him as well. At the end of the day, it's a solid movie, and like you said, with the audience score that it got, that says something, because at least your piece of work is connecting with an audience, it's connecting with somebody on some level, and to have it go from a 76% to like an 80% score,
Yeah,
that's a significant jump. So obviously there's a big portion of an audience out there in the world that really loves and appreciates what Eddie and Richard and Red Fox and Della Reese and her pinky toe and Jasmine Guy and everybody that was in the movie did. I mean, it's, I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but at the end of the day, what a fuck. I mean, I cannot think of this. I know it's been done before and all of that, but at the same time, it it is not very often you get this many iconic people to come together for one movie and have it turn out as well as I feel uh, Harlem Nights did.
yeah. I like how you touched on the dialogue, because you don't really talk about the dialogue a lot in comedic movies. And like you said, like this movie is very well written, and the dialogue is actually really well done. Like No, yeah, like dude, there's this one quote in the movie that really resonates with me. It's like, it's not how many people you shoot, it's who you shoot. Like that, come from a gangster perspective, that is dude, that is a major thing to say. And it's right on point. And yeah,
Oh
you
no,
don't really get a lot of like that, like good dialogue and like actual like great acting, like in comedy movies like that. So
no,
this movie is definitely funny. It is it is my favorite comedy movie of all time. But I think that the acting is phenomenal. The dialogue is great. This is a major piece of work that has been like overlooked by a lot of people.
exactly. And I'll even go so far. I'll even go right back to that opening scene of the movie, though, and how well Eddie did the writing. The dialogue that was given to that kid that played Eddie's character, it's like literally you hear the words coming out of his mouth, and yet you realize that everything that he's saying is such it's going to piece together so well with the character that Eddie is creating as an adult that it's like, okay, I can legitimately see that kid playing adult Eddie, 12 years into the future when the rest of the movie picks up where the beginning left off.
Yeah.
You don't always get that with, like,
but yeah, they did a very good job like putting everything together. And actually the backgrounds and stories of like all the different characters really went together well. Like like you felt their pain, you like you live with them, you laugh with them. Uh, each character it was they didn't have to spend a lot of time on each new character, but each character was built up enough so that you understood where they're coming from.
exact it yeah, I think exactly what you were saying though. There's so many different parts of this movie, and it all literally fits together like a jigsaw piece. It creates, in my opinion, a phenomenal story. We'll get to my ultimate opinion at the end of the episode, obviously, again. Um,
Yeah.
but it's just like it's like a fine piece of machinery that is going together, and all the pieces are working, and it's hitting and firing on all cylinders, even to the like CJ and his love of Della Reese's pinky toe.
Yeah, dude, Doris is amazing. Yeah, I love her. The thing is, the thing is, and also with the interactions with different characters, all of just like help form this movie so well. Like the interactions between Eddie Murphy's character and Richard Pryor's character, then Eddie Murphy's character and Della Reese's character, Della Reese's character and Red Fox's character, like all those like those like completely separate things, completely separate interactions, completely separate relationships, but like bring the movie together. And then like when they're all together is it's her play is just amazing.
Well, and that's one of the things I love about the movie as well, because like you get like there's a relationship obviously between Red Fox and Richard Pryor. There's a connection between Red Fox and Della Reese. There's a connection between Richard Pryor and Della Reese. There's a connection between Richard and Eddie. Eddie and Della Reese. You have the connection between Eddie and Jasmine Guy. And it all, I feel like every aspect of that comes together. It may take almost 2 hours for it to happen, but at the end of the day, it all comes together and creates one big cinematic piece of work or piece of art.
Yeah.
So,
with the interactions, you actually feel them as family because like each interaction between the different characters is different. How Eddie Murphy and Red Fox are with each other is completely different than how and how Richard Pryor and Red Fox are, or how Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor are. Their character, the way their characters interact, is completely different. But yeah, but when they're all together, it's still the same. Still the same.
Well, and even you were saying though, like when the prostitution money comes up short, and basically Eddie accuses Delarice of pocketing money, or if you're not, your girls are. Somebody's pocketing money, blah 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 blah, and then they end up out in the friggin' alley.
Somebody to work on their arithmetic.
That whole scene is so fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. Again, we here at An Evening at the Movies do not, by any stretch of imagination, ever condone a man hitting a woman. But again, you also have to factor in when this movie takes place and the fact that was generally accepted. Like I said, I'm not condoning it, but it's hilarious as fuck the way him and they kind of sort of playfully start out, but then it gets really serious.
No. She was never playing. She thought she was playing. She wasn't playing at all.
Well, yeah.
She's the one that drug him outside. He thought she was joking. No, she was not. She threw the first and second punch. Yeah, and
literally
missed to whoop his ass.
Knocked him off his feet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He did get a few hits in, but she whooped his ass.
I mean, she hit him over the head with a fucking. She hit him over the head with a fucking garbage can lid. She hit him with the garbage. I mean, he went full on ECW on Delarice in that movie.
Yes, and she still came back and started beating him down some more. If he had to pull that gun, it would have been he would have been done for.
Yeah,
but that is one of the most hilarious fight scenes.
Well, yeah, because that's when she gets shot in the pinky toe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely does take her pinky toe. Yeah. And then she even responds, I'm gonna break the rest of my foot off in your ass. Yeah, dude, she did not play. She was not playing at all with him.
No. So, one of the things I think that helps make this movie and keeps this movie as relevant as it is the fact that it's obviously set, in New York a long, long time ago. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't. It keeps all aspects of Harlem in the 1930s as part of the. I mean, it's not like it's a Richard Pryor's quote unquote gang versus another black nightclub owner. They're going head to head against white Godfather type head of a mafia family.
Yeah.
So I mean, it shows that it's not all one sided, and we're keeping it open to the to the reality of not everything has to be 100% black on black on black.
Yeah.
So that helps keep things relevant, in my opinion. But
there's black nightclub owners versus actual gangsters.
Yeah, and obviously there's aspects of the fact that the head of the mafia family, the white guy, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
he has a lot more,
Bugsy
for lack of a better term, stroke. Yeah, Bugsy Calhoun has a lot more stroke than Richard Pryor does. Not that Richard Pryor isn't having an enormous amount of. I mean, to make $15,000 a week as a nightclub owner in the 1930s, motherfucker is rich as hell.
Yeah,
but I mean, and it's obviously enough that it's threatening Bugsy Calhoun. because he's using his influence with the police department and all of
Yeah, he's
that
got
to
cops
try.
and judges and all sorts of people on his payroll.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
he's trying to put pressure on, um, Richard Pryor to cut
yeah.
down.
Sugar,
Yeah, Sugar,
Sugar Ray.
where you're making. I think the offer was you're pulling down $15,000 a week. So here's the deal: you're going to cut down 10% to me being the cop and Calhoun, and you get $5,000 out of it. The rest of it, and it's like
Yeah.
that's fucked up, dude. Because
Oh yeah.
Richard Pryor's the one out there doing and putting himself at risk to and working his ass off to make this empire and build up his nightclub, and then to have somebody come in who has literally no effort in this process at all. I want 2/3 of your money or else. Fuck you, dude.
Mhm. Yeah, but that's just pretty much the way American greed is nowadays. It's like, all right, yeah, Buzz Calhoun already owned the other 4 nightclubs in the city. There's 5 nightclubs in the city. He owns 4. They own 1. Not enough for him. No, I gotta get a piece of that other one that I don't own. I gotta get a piece of that too. They're doing too good.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
the black people are doing too good.
Looking at
so
it,
I need some of that money too. That's American greed.
So one, if you think about it by that math standards, he owns 4, and he wants 2/3 of the 5th one. So he literally would own 4.666%, or what, 66. Yeah, he'd basically own 90 some odd percent of fucking all the nightclub action in New York. No, fuck you, dude. Your greed can take a fucking back step. But the fact, I appreciate the fact that still at the same time, everybody working for Richard Pryor has the strength and testicular fortitude to put their foot down and say, no, fuck you. We're not doing this. Even though the ultimate plan at the end of the movie is we're going to run away and go elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, that's the smart move. Yeah.
No, good. At the end of the day,
they're businessmen. He's a gangster.
Yeah, there's more of that. There's more of Calhoun's men than there is of Richard Pryor's men.
Yeah.
So, and that's where the line comes from with the whole. It's not how many people you shoot. It's who you shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not necessarily metaphorically shooting Bugsy Calhoun, but at the end of the day, they come up with a foolproof plan that is basically, at the end of the day, a metaphorical shot at Calhoun because
that plan was genius.
They're orchestrating, a big gambling fiasco where all this money. There's a big championship boxing match, and all this money is going to be bet on the surefire champ that everybody knows is going to fucking win. But then they're like, no, let's put all of our money here and have the champ take a dive, and then Calhoun and everybody loses all their money. We take all their damn money from them because we're putting $200,000 there. And $200,000 in 1930s, that's like putting down like $10 million today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the actual translation rate is, but
it's a whole lot of money. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like for him to actually for Calhoun to lose all that damn money, they literally just killed his entire fucking operation by orchestrating this grand, intelligent fucking scheme. They didn't necessarily have to go out there.
He still has people he needs to pay too. He's the big dog for a reason because he puts out this money. Now, if they take it all, then he's hurting bad. So that's definitely a good shot.
Like, again, here's the other aspect. This is where like my whole idea for like picking the certain movies that we're picking to talk about this month came from. It's like, and this is one of the main reasons why I feel like this one fits really well into this because at the end of the day, it would be so easy for there just to be one big shootout at the end,
Mhm.
and you know, kind of like Boys in the Hood or New Jack City or something along that line. Not again, not saying by any stretch of the imagination that these movies are horrible or that they, you know, make the culture look horrifically bad. I'm just saying when a lot of stuff ends in that fashion,
Mhm.
to find that there's a different way that things can be approached from and creatively came at, you know, I give
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy all the credit in the world for coming up with the ending that he did because
This was this was very well thought out, very methodical.
it's not,
And yeah, the plan was amazing.
yeah, it's
And
not
the way
that,
they pulled it
you
off was
know,
great.
it's not like we're planning on, holding our ground and we're going to be, the last nightclub standing in Harlem at the end of the movie. Because to me, not that I wouldn't have been rooting for that to happen, but at the end of the day, how realistic would it have been to go head to head with that big of a mob family and to have that
Mhm.
little tight knit nightclub family come out at the end of the day as the quote unquote sole survivors? Not so
Yeah,
much.
no, that wouldn't happen. Yeah, they would have got wiped out.
So even with the fact that weaponry back in the 30s was a lot different than what it. Yeah, that's still
It's still
hundred.
effective.
It's hundreds of guns against 30 guns. There's
Yeah.
no way in hell. I don't care how good of a shot you are that you're gonna freaking survive that kind of fucking battle.
Mhm. Yeah, and you have no backup. You just have who you're standing with right there. He can call in more guys. Uh,
Yeah,
he's got
exactly. So it's like
he's got reinforcements upon reinforcements.
it's
Y'all
like
just
oh
got each
we're shit,
other.
we're 10 guys down. Up next 10 up, and the next 10 guys come out of one of the fucking clubs. Before you know
Yeah,
it, now you're one step forward, but 10 steps back.
yeah. I was gonna say though, his Sugar Ray's people, they have heart. Like one of the big differences between like the two groups, Calhoun ruled an iron fist. His men followed him because one, he paid them, and two, they feared him.
Yeah,
Sugar Ray people follow him because they loved him. Simple as that. He can give them
that's
money
one of the
too,
reasons why I
but
refer to
they
that
all
nightclub
loved
family
him.
because
Yeah.
it really is. I don't care whether or not Eddie and Della, you know, hated on each other back and forth verbally or not. At the end of the day, it was still a family. Like
Oh yeah.
Red Fox was like the grandpa. Richard Pryor was like the dad.
The father.
Eddie
Yeah.
was, the father. And there's some Della Reese
I
was
don't know.
like grandma.
Red Fox seemed more like the mean uncle.
Well, I mean, yeah, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it it literally is like a family coming together and having each other's back at the end of the day.
hmm Yeah.
And against going against the size of the mafia that they were going against, yeah, I don't know if I would have had the freaking huevos to freaking stand up like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing. Look, they all trusted him. They all trusted Sugar Ray and quick.
Well,
That's part of we.
well, because even like Eddie said before they sat down to have the meeting about the whole running away, he's like, we're running away. What? No, we stand and fight. And that's where again, same
Yeah.
point, where that
Yeah.
line came from.
Yeah.
But it's like Eddie wanted to stand and fight, but yet Sugar Ray had the it all worked out in his head. No, we can't stand. There's no way. If we stand and fight, we're not going to make it. We
Mm.
cannot win. We can't win this fight.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Ace character is young and impulsive. Yeah. That's why
yeah,
they named him Quick.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to take it. I'm not necessarily trying to go down this road particular, but in a lot of ways, and I don't think it's a bad thing either. But there's a lot of similarities between this movie and the Corleone family and the Godfather, where especially like with the first movie, Richard Pryor is a lot like Marlon Brando's character. Eddie Murphy's character in Harlem Nights is a lot like James Caan's character in the original Godfather movie. He's hot-headed and he's ready to fight, but yet his dad, Sugar Ray,
Mm-hmm.
Vito, have to talk him down all the damn time because you're going to end up getting ourselves fucking killed, or you're going to end up hurting the family by not reining it in and keeping calm and doing what you do. So Netflix and chill and do what I tell you to do, damn it.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah. All right. Now we're talking about the family. You gotta talk about the whole family. Like this movie. Like I think one of the things that brought it all together, like not just like the main, like the relationship between the main characters, but this movie had a phenomenal supporting cast. Just a whole lot of who's of comedic actors. Like not a bunch of stand-ups. There's people who like do a lot of comedy movies, and yeah, they all work well together. It was just,
like you have. I think this was the second time that Eddie and Arsenio worked together after coming to America.
Mm-hmm.
You have what's his face from Martin, who plays Tommy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
dude, I love bringing him up. His real name is Thomas, and he's done 3 projects where his name is Tommy. In Harlem Nights, he was named Tommy Harlem Nights. Then in the show Martin, he was also Tommy. And then in the movie Class Act, another Tommy.
Oh wow, I haven't seen that movie in so long. Goddamn.
Yeah, dude, I love reading that. It's like, and his name is Thomas. It's like, all right, is he good at remembering lines but not remember his name? Like, did he literally just change his name to Tommy every movie? Like, all right, your name, all right, your name is Jordan. Like, no, man, it's Tommy.
I grew up in high school acting in plays and stuff, and I always thought it would be kind of funny, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, to get to play a character that had the same name as me. But then, like, I had a good enough drama teacher in high school that sat me down and taught me that. And I'm not saying the stuff with Tommy is bad at all, but when you're developing your own character, one of the easiest things to grab onto as your first step is a character name. So you take that name and, once you grab onto it, you can start to slowly separate, the real you from the character that you're creating.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that he's a bad actor by any stretch of the imagination, because he's not. He's fucking. I have not seen him do anything horrible that I can think of right off the top of my head.
I think he's a good actor. Rest in peace.
Charlie Murphy's in the movie.
Yeah, and again, rest in peace, Charlie Murphy.
Yeah,
a couple years ago.
Well, if people have gone back and actually watched, I don't think it came up in Eddie Murphy Raw, but I know it came up in Delirious, and I've heard Eddie Murphy address it in a couple of interviews before as well. But one of his favorite TV shows growing up as a kid was I Love Lucy. So if you know classic old school black and white TV, I Love Lucy starred Lucille Ball and her, at the time, husband, Desi Arnaz. There's a actor in Harlem Nights by the name of Desi Arnaz Jr., who is the son of Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. Yeah. So it's kind of sort of a throwback shout out to Eddie Murphy's, favorite show growing up as a kid.
Yeah, he's the kid. He's the kid that actually played Quick as he was young. Yeah, Eddie Murphy's young character.
Yeah. So, again, definitely 100%. There is so much great about this movie. We could
Yeah.
literally be here for hours
If you watch, you watch this
talking
movie,
about
like
everything.
you're like, there's hardly any scenes in the movie where you won't see somebody that you recognize from somewhere. This movie is so jam packed with so many great talents.
Even like the fucking cop from that does aiding it that aids with the blackmailing of Sugar Ray. Like,
Yeah,
I don't remember his name right off the top of my head, but I know I've seen him in like 4 or 5, 6 different movies.
yeah, exactly. Like every scene you're gonna recognize somebody or
Yeah,
multiple people. Yeah, it was
and
just great talent.
all of that pieced together helps create a movie that is so epically worthy of more than a 26% fucking Rotten Tomato score.
Fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I'm officially going to put my foot down right now and say I'm going to steal the I did not make these podcasts or I did not make Jesus Christ, I can't even say my own network name. I did not make these rankings podcast network secondary motto, and fuck Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't
Fuck
know what
them.
the hell they're talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get it right. More often than not,
They get
fuck
lucky.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, everyone's going to get lucky.
Well,
The audience scores are more correct.
Well, it's like, okay, not to get off topic, but like we discussed in the bracket review show that we did before this episode that we're recording. Dre brought up the subject that 1984 Terminator got a 100% certifiably fresh score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Certifiably fresh.
Yeah, whatever it is. Either way you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But then Terminator 2 got like a 90% or 92% or whatever the hell it was. I don't have the number right in front of me. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, there is no way in hell, and I know CJ will back me up with this, that Terminator 1 is better than Terminator 2. Fuck you,
Not at
Rotten
all.
Tomatoes. No. I have my whole idea that Terminator and Terminator 2 can fit together as a big complete story, but no, there's no way in hell that T1 is better than T2. Fuck you, Rotten Tomatoes, right in the ass. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm trying to think if I look at my notes really quick and see how much more we covered a lot, and I still feel like we haven't scratched the surface yet. But
Yeah. Actually, the last episode we did more rabbit holes and laughing than actually talking about the movie.
True. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just literally so. I feel like again, like I said, there's so much about this movie that we haven't got. I'm going to say this right now: we may need to do a part 3 for this episode.
You're missing
we
stuff.
really we haven't even really gotten into like the memorable quotes and shit from this movie that you can't just overlook because it's so fitting for each character. Like to me, it felt like every quote that Eddie or every piece of dialogue that Eddie wrote, he was specifically gearing for that actor, whether it was Richard Pryor or whether it was Red Fox or
Thank
whether it
you.
was Della Reese or
Yeah.
whether it was him or Arsenio or whoever.
Yeah, a moment with Arsenio is what really like resonates my mind when we talk about that. When he and his crew are going after Quick. And and they're unleashing hell. They're fucking like blasting Tommy guns at him. And then there's this one guy in his crew that has a little pistol. Dude, that whole scene and Arsenio's dialogue there is fantastic. And it works perfectly. It's just so perfect. It was just perfectly written for him.
Yeah, I will 100% second that. Um, but like I was saying, though, I'm also out of the corner of my other eye. I see the running time we have sitting right now, and I know um, we don't necessarily have a whole lot more time. And I know CJ's got another recording he's got later. So um, why don't we go ahead and give I'll let CJ go first. Obviously, Gus goes first, but our overall review of CJ is the one that actually I went back and re-listened to the last episode, so he may know just how much our reviews and ratings are going to change, or whether or not they do. But go ahead and give your review of the movie, and go ahead and rate the movie, CJ.
Okay, like that, dude. I love this movie. It's phenomenal, and it's my number one all time favorite comedy movie. And I can't. I don't think I can give any movie a 10 because no, nothing is perfect in a 10. But I think this is as close as you can get. I give it a 9.7.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my. I mean, it's an insanely talented cast, like we've been saying for the last almost hour. Um, and to me, if anybody knows me and has listened to the show enough, you will know that I will always sing the praises of Eddie Murphy. I'm not going to lie, not always. Eddie has crapped the bed a couple of times that I can think of, but Eddie is a phenomenally talented actor. He's funny. I personally would like to see him try and direct again, just because I think things are a little bit more different now than what they were, 30, almost 40 years ago when
Oh
he
man, don't say that.
he was yeah, exactly.
Oh,
You know,
that's a long time.
and I think Eddie's got, not that Eddie didn't have the stroke back then to put his foot down and say no, but I think he also, with him not directing before, didn't necessarily have as much of the studio's belief in him that he needed to
Yeah,
have. Where I
yeah.
think he's laid enough groundwork now with his talent as an actor, where he could sign a contract with, you know, a studio or Netflix or whoever, and be given the proper amount of time to develop a solid script, develop, you know, how you're going to do the movie. And I think it would be an interesting um, thing to compare, a 1989 Eddie, Mur- Eddie Murphy movie to a 2024 Eddie Murphy movie. Well,
Plus the
probably,
budget that they had too.
yeah. You know, I mean, at the same time, it's like, again, with Beverly Hills Cop 4 coming out in a couple of months, real, I'm nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm nervous. I'm very fucking nervous, but I also feel like it's been worked on and grown and evolved enough that, and I don't know how much input. I think Eddie had a lot of input into this. That I feel like we've got a good shot at getting a decent Beverly Hills Cop movie. If this happens to be the last one, then rest in peace, Beverly Hills Cop. But you know, as long as it's something that, as fans, we feel we get the just respect for.
It's got to be justified. It can't just be
Yeah,
thrown out there just to be thrown out there. I know.
yeah, and I, again, not taking cheap shots at Dre, but I think
Oh, this is
that's
gonna be his new favorite.
that. Well, no, that's where I think my feelings on Beverly Hills Cop 3 come from. Is I
Yeah.
feel like that movie was just thrown together at the last minute to try and cash in on the Beverly Hills Cop name, and I don't. I mean, I'll watch it again. I'm not. I don't completely 100% hate it, but there's still aspects of that movie that don't connect right with me. So I think the stuff that I know in my heart, and I'm not going to go down that road and specifically call people out on it now, but I think the stuff that I feel doesn't connect in Beverly Hills Cop 3, I
Yeah.
think they're taking the necessary steps to fix in Beverly Hills Cop 4.
I really hope so. Because
So,
I'm looking forward to it.
definitely crossing fingers. I'm going to go along the same lines as CJ, though. Um, this isn't, by any stretch of the imagination, a perfect movie. Um, but I enjoy it. I've seen this movie more in probably the last 3 months than I've seen it in probably the last 10 years. And at the end of the day, I'm not upset with the fact that CJ wanted to initially do this movie and do it a second time. And I think we're going to do it a third time because there's still so much we haven't freaking touched on. And I feel like if we do one more planned out episode, I feel like we can finish bringing the whole thing together as one. So,
Okay, I
so,
agree.
so yeah, this obviously a lot of fun. I appreciate the listeners being here each and every week. The dozens are fucking amazing, and you guys are the reason why. Again, when this episode drops, it will have been 4 days ago, but we just passed our third anniversary slash 200th episode. So technically, this is episode 201, but the listeners are the reason why I'm still doing this 3 years later, and I don't see me stopping anytime soon. So, thank you, CJ, for being here and coming back again
Thanks
as
for
well.
having me.
Anytime you want to take a chance and remind or take the opportunity to remind the listeners where they can find you on the socials.
Yes, right now I am old, so I'm only on Facebook. But yeah, but you can look up the podcast. Masturbators presents Bracket Reviews. I do season to season with this guy right here, that guy, as well as Toontastic Journeys.
And again, all of that will be shared on my social media platforms as well when um, we get ready for the promotional stuff for this episode. So you can definitely check that out wherever you can find me on social media as well. Coming up on an evening at the movies, I'm going to go down the list really quick just because I haven't done it in a while. But um, I'm not sure which order we've got coming up, but I know we have another masturbator coming up and making her debut on an evening at the movies here in the next couple of weeks.
Ooh.
Cam will be here. Not sure what we are discussing yet. She hasn't picked her movie, or maybe she has, but by the time we're recording this, she hasn't. But also, as well, we've got another member of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network, Kendra, coming in, who again hasn't picked the movie yet, but we got great. We will have great movies to round out Black Cinema Month. But also after that, we've got movies everybody should see once in their lifetime. With movies like the original Star Trek, the motion picture, Across the Universe, North by Northwest, Lost in Translation, Clerks, Deadpool, Batman '89, and a bunch of other stuff as well. There'll be episodes with Amanda and Chancey will be here. We've got a whole host of guests coming up over the next several months, but literally, like I was telling everybody earlier, all that stuff that I just ran down, with the exception of Cam and Kendra, has all been recorded. So that's how far out we're already ahead of the game. So you can definitely look forward to all that stuff that we just planned or that I just listed off. And again, thank you, CJ. Thank you, listeners. Thank you to everybody who's been a part of the success of an evening at the movies. And at the end of the day, we hope you guys all come back for an evening at the movies. We will see you guys next week for Cam or Kendra.